Welcome to Tech Talk, y'all.
Hi, and welcome to Tech Talk, y'all, episode 373. I'm Adam Walker.
That's a voice you haven't heard in a couple of weeks, and I'm Sanjay Parekh.
That's right. I'm glad to be back, though I'm also glad you got some good guests in the meantime and had some fun conversations.
We did. It's funny that there was shout outs of those people from other people to me. They're like, oh, I heard producer Shannon or I heard Kara. And
I really liked the title of Shannon. The title was The Return of Producer Shannon, I think, which was like I love that title. That was so good.
I mean, I was like, there's nothing else really that I could do with that. That was the most obvious thing.
Yeah, it was so good. Loved it.
It's funny. Even Kara called out producer Shannon. She was like, well, I think it was her tech rec. She was like, I don't know if my tech rec is good as producer Shannon, but so there you go. I love it. It's funny when you hit in the real world, like people talk about things that we talk about on the show and you realize like, oh, you listen to the show. Yeah. Like I've had people tell me like, oh yeah, see, look, you're wearing a plaid shirt. I'm like, oh.
I'm not sure that's actually ever happened to me personally.
That's never happened to you?
No, where somebody has referenced something from our show to me in the real world. Like it must be that you have more supportive people in your life that pay attention to your content. Yeah, no, like the only person in my life that listens to this show is my dad. Like he's the only, like there is no one else. Like my wife, my kids, my mom, like nobody else listens to this show. Yeah. Just my dad. So he would know, but like that's it.
Yeah. My immediate family, wife, kids, none of them. They're like, no, we're not going to listen to that.
We can't do it.
Yeah,
we can't do it.
We have enough of you during the day already. We don't need to listen to more of you.
That's right. We get enough of your plaid shirt during the day. We don't need more of it right now.
There you go. You go.
All right. Well, let's dive in. We got some good stuff for you today. Starting out, McDonald's gives its restaurants an AI makeover. I feel like there's like so many snarky comments I should say right here. I can't even pick which snarky comment I want to make.
Hopefully the McFlurry machines now are going to be better managed and monitored. But it's interesting, like, obviously they have a lot of employees and they're trying to employ AI to help with quality as well as throughput and all those things. And I think McDonald's has been on the front end of this for a long time. Like, I don't know if
that's true.
Seen this or experienced this when you go up there, like the person that you talk to on the drive-through window is not necessarily somebody that's even in that building.
No.
They're at some call center.
Right.
And I think I told this story before. I was at a Starbucks and I was with one of my kids, and each step, I think we talked to two different people and then the person at the window, they were different voices. And I was like, those people are not here in this place. And they're like, what are you talking about? And so I explained it, but so I think this will be interesting. I think it remains to be seen to see if this actually has a material impact on their revenue. That's really where it comes down to, right? Like, can they get more customers through the business? Can they sell more stuff? Can they increase their quality? Can they lower the cost by doing all of this?
Can they replace some people or reduce the stress for the people that are, behind the counter or, cooking or whatever.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
If it can, I think there's a new place and having AI do things that humans can't is maybe a good thing, but talking about things that AI can't do, AI thinks it cracked Kryptos. The artist behind it says no chance. Actually, he says a lot more than that. He's very annoyed by this. So if you don't know, we've talked about Kryptos on the show probably many years ago at this point, but Kryptos is a sculpture that is in the garden of the CIA. So you can't just go and see this thing. Okay. I have been fortunate to be able to see it once in real life. But it is out there and it was installed it's been like 20 years now at this point. So it's a encrypted sculpture. So there's a message and there's 3 portions to it. The third portion has never been cracked. And now all of these idiotic yahoos are trying to employ AI and like, hey, I cracked this in like an hour this morning before I had my coffee. And the artist is like, no, you didn't. That's not right. And you're wrong. And so he's getting really annoyed by people just sending him emails all the time,
right?
Thinking they've cracked it. And the thing that frustrates me about this is like, look, not everything should be done with computers, right? Like there is some beauty in this. Like it's like you would get a puzzle and then just be like, hey, let the computer do it. Like, what's the point?
That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get a jigsaw puzzle and I want a robot, and I'm like, hey, I got you a puzzle.
Solve it.
And then I'm going to frame it, like grandparents used to to, and then hang it on my wall.
And pretend like you did it.
You see that 5,000 piece puzzle? My robot did that. It was awesome. So
my robot did that.
What's up? How you doing? Yeah,
my cool. Robot's better than your robot.
My robot can do 5,000 piece puzzles that are all one color. What can your robot do? I don't even know. I don't even know what your robot can do.
Have you ever done one of those puzzles? I've seen them.
I don't really do puzzles.
Oh, really?
It's not really a part of my personality to sit down and do puzzles. I think I'd probably prefer to ram my head through a concrete wall or something. So I've done puzzles, but the ultimate, there is some company, and I've forgotten who they are, but they make single color puzzles. Oh yeah, I've seen those. Yeah.
And they're massive. They're not even those small. They're like 2,000, 4,000 piece puzzles.
Yeah.
And everything is the same color.
I
would find that so irritating. I would never do that.
I feel like if you ever wanted to like genuinely torture me, like that's probably like, here, Adam, you can't eat until you do this puzzle. And I'll be like, I'm going to die right
here. And make a note for your next birthday present.
I'm done right here. Yes.
Single color jigsaw puzzle.
Yeah. Speaking of things solving things, China's autonomous agent Manus, is it Manus? I think it's Manus.
I think so, yeah.
Changes everything. And then the next article, Manus probably isn't China's second DeepSeek moment. So Manus is an autonomous AI agent that supposedly can like do real things in the real world. Like, for example, you should be able to say to Manus, hey, book me a table at a restaurant within walking distance. And the person, I think it wasn't in Wired. It was that second article. It was in Mashable, maybe. I forget.
Or Forbes, I think.
Maybe, it was something. Anyway, basically they tried to get it to do that, like book a table within walking distance. And after 30 minutes, it crashed and couldn't do it. They tried to get it to book an airline ticket. It couldn't do that. They tried to get it to order a chicken sandwich from a local place where they go pick it up. It couldn't do that. So I think the concept of what Manus is trying to do is going to be game changing, and it's only a very short amount of time before that's all possible, but it clearly is not there at this moment.
Yeah.
So
yeah, exactly. I think this is where some of this stuff is going, where you have agents that will then just do things or monitor things for you.
That's right.
And then give you a heads up when things are important for you to know.
That's right.
But this is not that. And apparently Manus, I was reading something else. I think maybe it was one of these two articles, is actually relying on some of the other LLMs from some of the other AI companies.
Claude, I believe, is one of them. Yeah, one of them was Claude. I forget what the other ones were. So it is leveraging other tools as well. But I'll say this, like this is coming. And I mean, and to the point, like we were just talking before we recorded, right? So I used a tool recently called N8N.io to create like a little AI agent for myself. And by doing that, I was able to connect it to an app called Telegram where I could send my AI agent a message. And I was able to send it a message that said like, hey, look up some information about recent technology news and send an email to Sanjay about it. Like that was the command. And it didn't do the perfect job of like looking up the information, but it was able with all the stuff that I built into it, it was able to know exactly who Sanjay is with just by saying his name. It knew Sanjay's email address because I put that in as a part of the AI agent. It in other testing that I did for myself was able to look up stuff. And then it interfaced with my own email because I integrated it with my email, and it was able to send that email all by itself to Sanjay to do that. And so theoretically, we're not very far away from there being a time where you're like, hey, I need to book lunch with Sanjay. We haven't done that in a while. AI agent friend, go and do that. Go send him an email with my favorite restaurants, find a time, book a restaurant, and, let us know, and then create the calendar invite for us. Like we're very close to that.
Yeah.
So
I think the ideal for me with that is, and this is the reason why I hate some of these calendaring tools, is optimizing my schedule. Like if you just leave it for somebody else to book time, they'll have you driving all over Atlanta all day long. I'm like, I'm not doing that. So like even today, when somebody asks me for times to get together for lunch, I'll be like, I look at my schedule and be like, okay, when am I in? I will almost inevitably ask them like, okay, what areas of town are you normally in?
That's right.
And then based on that, I will see when I'm in those areas of town. And then these are the days I have available for you.
Yeah.
I'm not driving all over.
When I used to do a ton of in-person networking, I would have like Mondays where I knew Mondays I was going to do Buckhead. Tuesdays I was going to do Midtown.
Yeah.
And I would do it that way. And I would figure out what part of town they were in. I'm like, okay, well, you want to be in this part of town. So that's going to be a Monday. So let's look at, whatever.
Right.
And that worked out pretty well. But I mean, I was still driving all over the place. It was crazy.
Yeah. I don't have time for all that driving. No. But somebody that is going to have time for driving because they're going to be all broken up. Justice Department doubles down on request to break up Google. This is going to be big if they do it. They want to have Google sell off Chrome, potentially Android, and who knows what else at this point. So, I
mean, my question to that is, like, how will Google sunset as many things as it needs to sunset if they're all broken up? Like, what happens to the sunsetting plan of everything? Like, that's what I want to know. So, I mean,
the Google Graveyard website is going to get pretty lonely because it's just going to be like,
it's just disappointing at this point.
They're going to have to buy new things and shut them down. Then.
Yeah, but then they're just going to get broken up. Like, it's just going to be a whole different.
But I mean, then it's just a race. How quickly can you shut it down before you get broken up? So it's a race. Like, how can you shut it down before you make it sold off?
Maybe they'll break it up and like one of the whole new companies will just sunset itself. Like, I think we're just gonna.
I think that's called bankruptcy. Yeah, that's called bankruptcy. Yeah, that's not sunsetting anymore. It's bankruptcy.
Well, there you go. All right. Next up, undocumented commands found in Bluetooth chip used by 1 billion devices. And if I read the article correctly, this is a China-made Bluetooth chip, and I think the undocumented commands, like, they were using the term, quote, backdoor. Is that correct? Like, what's the deal here?
Yeah, it's unclear because they've not said if it was intentional or not. If it was intentional, they probably won't say that it was intentional. There's some speculation that it might have been some development commands that were left in there.
Okay.
But basically what it boils down to is, like, there's 1 billion chips out there that do Bluetooth and Wi-Fi that are vulnerable, and there's no way to fix them other than replacing the hardware. So here's the other big question. How many of the devices in your house right now that are using Bluetooth and Wi-Fi, do you know which chips they're using? You don't, is the answer to that.
Dude, I don't even know which devices have Bluetooth and Wi-Fi. Okay. Like, let's just be real. So, I mean, like, my level of knowledge on this is so limited. I can't pay that much attention, man. Like, I just can't do it.
And honestly, there's things that have Bluetooth that you're like, you can't even turn off. Like, I know my dumb TV, which it's not a dumb TV, it's a smart TV, but it has Bluetooth because I see the Bluetooth, but there's no way to turn that off through the menus, which is irritating to me. Like, I'm never using Bluetooth on you. Stop sending out that signal and creating an opportunity to get attacked. Like,
I can tell you how to turn the Bluetooth off, though.
Yeah.
It's called
Sledgehammer.
The Sledgehammer protocol. Yeah, how did you know where I was going to go? It's the Sledgehammer protocol. That's how you. That's how you know me so well.
It's funny because I was just listening to that song yesterday. Peter Gabriel.
Now that's going to be stuck in my head for the rest of the day.
Sledgehammer.
You suck. All right, that's fine.
So, look. As many things as you have that have Bluetooth and Wi-Fi that you don't need to have them have Bluetooth and Wi-Fi, if you can disable them.
Yeah, fair enough.
This is an attack that somebody would have to do nearby the device.
That's right.
It's not a remote attack, which lessens the impact somewhat.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
But if you think about it, if you're going out and about with your phone or your fancy headphones or something like that, and they have Bluetooth and you don't know what chip because you're not going to know what chip they have.
That's right. That's right.
If you don't need them to be on, don't have them on because when you're out in public, that's probably a bigger likelihood that somebody's going to do an attack like this because they can just, sweep up a bunch of people all at once.
True.
And while you're on your way out in public, out there, you can look at ads, on your Dodge Charger because Dodge Chargers now have ads at every stoplight, just what nobody asked for. Yep. Same company that we talked about that does Jeep ads, doing them in Dodge Chargers.
So here's the problem I have with this. Okay. So let's say, you're driving your Dodge Charger as one does. And you're at the front of the stoplight and you're looking over and you obviously got to race the car next to you because, like, of course, that's the Dodge Charger thing. Yeah. But then you get distracted by the ad and you miss the light and you don't slam. Like, what are we going to do? Like, this is going to screw up street racing. I'm very upset about it.
I'm suddenly in favor of this 100%. I like this. I think we should have more ads in cars now. just sold me.
I remember a tweet one time from a friend of mine. I don't know if you, I think you know him, Brett. But one of his tweets, his tweet was, it was one of the greatest tweets I've ever read. And I think it was like, I think it said something to the effect of, I want to get a Dodge Charger so I can drive like that. That's what he said. I read it. I was like, oh my gosh, that is the greatest statement ever. Like that's about right.
I've seen some around town. I recently saw one. Maybe it was intentional. I think they removed their muffler or something. It was loud as anything, and it was very obnoxious.
Well, some of them are my great uncle has one that's like it's called a Hellcat, and it's like just crazy loud, right? Stock. Like, yeah, it's like,
I don't think this was that.
It's the most insane thing. Well, you only know it's like a little badge on the side that has that's the only thing you tell.
Thing.
Yeah. It's crazy.
I don't know. It was too far away. It was on the highway, and I was like, whose car is making all that noise?
So
my car is silently over here as an electric vehicle, being very, very quiet, and you're just.
We can fix that with some subwoofers on your car. I think we could.
That actually might not be a bad. Swap out there.
Okay.
Yeah.
And last up before Weird and Wacky, patients with long COVID regain sense of smell and taste with pioneering surgery. Essentially, they just increase airflow to the olfactory glands, and it sort of kickstarts the senses again, I guess, right? Which is crazy.
So the part that I found fascinating about this was that there is smell training that it was being done with some of these people. Like they were going in and smelling things and to get them to be able to smell again. And it wasn't obviously working for some of these folks. That's why they figured out this surgery and stuff. But I didn't even know that was a thing. Like, you don't smell good. So here, smell these things and see if your sense of smell can get better.
I might need some smell training, or maybe some taste training. Because here's the thing, right? So, there have been road trips where my wife and I'll play this game, and she'll hand me a Skittle, without me looking, and I'll have to pop it in my mouth and tell her what flavor it is. And I can't do it. I can't pop it in my mouth and tell you what flavor. I can't distinguish between grape and orange, which is
two different ends of the spectrum.
Very different. Yeah. And I can't. It tastes sweet. Does that count? Is sweet a flavor? Does that work? It's
sweet. It tastes orange. No, it tastes purple. I taste purple.
Yeah, it's
like blue.
I got
blue
nothing.
blast.
Yeah, it's my sense of smell and taste is so poor. It's ridiculous. So there you go. Yeah.
There you go.
Time for the Weird and Wacky segment.
Abominable snowman.
He's not an axe murderer. One of the TAs turned out to be a bot.
First up in Weird and Wacky, the surprisingly difficult mathematical proof that anime fans helped solve. This is a crazy, so they solved it years ago and nobody noticed. This math guy noticed and wrote something about it, and then nobody noticed that he wrote about it. And then a couple of years after that, it actually got picked up. And so apparently the original post was on 4chan, which listeners, you should never go there because it turned into a dumpster fire.
Yeah.
But I forgot which show this was. Basically, it was some anime show where each of the episodes you could watch independently of one another.
Right.
So there was a discussion of how many different ways could you watch all the shows to be able to watch all the different orderings, the pairings.
Okay.
And apparently that is a very difficult mathematical problem to solve, to the fact that we've only solved it to four, a combination, four items.
Okay.
But in this anime post, they figured it out to 5 and actually got it to the point where they could figure out the lower bound, the minimum number, and then somebody else figured out the maximum number. And so then now we know the range of solutions of that.
Interesting.
So, random. And so they actually wrote a paper about this, and they credited anonymous 4chan user as coming up.
So what I'm hearing you say is that apparently anime fans are freaking brilliant. That's really my only takeaway from this conversation is that anime fans are just amazingly brilliant.
I mean, I think if you look at the Venn diagram of people that watch anime and the people that are smart, I think there's a huge overlap of those two things, right? I think smart people do tend to watch anime. I don't watch anime. So I think that tells you a lot.
I've never watched anime. So never.
I did when I was a kid. I mean, I think it was anime. Yeah, it was anime. Yeah. As a kid, Robotech. I don't know. Do you remember Road Tech?
Well, you've talked about it enough for me to feel like I remember it, even though I don't remember it. It's one of those it's like an implanted memory. Like if you talk about it, dude, you remember that time that we went to the casino in Atlanta, even though there's not one. And yeah, man, I told her that's how I feel about it. You've implanted the memory.
I need to pull out some of my Robotech comic books next time and like show them on the show so that people actually see them. So
yeah, that would be.
I still have all of those.
Very nerdy of you to do.
Yeah,
so
it would be.
All right, next up, Cheetozard, viral Pokemon-shaped Cheeto, sells for nearly $88,000, subtitle from Adam, to someone that has way too much money in their bank account and doesn't know what to do with it.
Yep.
It's a Cheeto that's shaped like a dragon. It does legitimately look like whatever the Ozard is supposed to look like. I mean, it looks like
Charizard.
Charizard. Yeah, it looks like a Charizard.
Yeah.
But it's a Cheeto. I mean, it's a Cheeto. You just paid $88,000 for a Cheeto. You could have had almost a Cybertruck. Oh wait, no, the Cheeto's better. Okay.
I must say the packaging of Cheetozard is very well done. I mean, it's true. It's got a kind of a fake Pokemon card surrounding case to it, and it's in a thing of a case, and it's very well treated. The other thing that's sad about this is to know that this was found years ago, I think at this point, many years ago, and it has not degraded. And so if you're eating Cheetos, what does that tell you about the thing that you're putting in your mouth? It doesn't degrade over time.
Yeah, it's gross.
I think, normally foods, they degrade over time.
They should. Yeah, they should.
Normal foods degrade with time, but
not those. Not those.
Talking about a place that food doesn't degrade over time. Buffalo Wild Wings to offer multi-vision goggles in advance of March Madness. Are they even going to sell one of these? I think this is a gimmick, isn't it?
I was trying to figure out, is this a real thing? Like it's basically goggles with a million mirrors shooting off of it, where you can theoretically position the mirrors to see the different TV. But then as soon as you move your head, you can't see
the TV anymore.
I can't imagine this being real. But I looked at it and the article looked real, and I don't know. It just. This is dumb.
I mean, they're offering them for $10 or something, right?
So dumb.
I mean, I'm sure there's somebody out there that's going to spend $10 to buy one, but I think that's probably the max number they'll sell of these.
But they won't use it. They'll just take a selfie with it, is what's going to happen. They're going to buy it, think it's funny, take a selfie with it, throw it in the garbage.
Oh, sorry. It's $12.99.
As one does.
$12.99 for this.
Yeah.
Maybe we should get them on because, it is an Atlanta-based company. Inspire Brands owns them. Maybe we can get them to send us
a set. We can record wearing them. That'd be great.
Then we'll just be distracted the whole time looking at stuff behind us instead of actually real stuff.
Tech wreck, time to get your tech wreck.
Tech wreck. Chicky.
Tech wreck. Time to get your tech wreck.
Okay, Adam, it is Tech Wreck time. You've been gone for 2 weeks, so it better be good. What do you got for us this week?
All right, so I was gone traveling, and what I'm going to share is probably my favorite travel item that we took with us on this trip. So it's the Osprey Ultralight Collapsible Stuff Pack. So what this is it's a backpack that's a pretty decent sized backpack, and it's got water bottle holders on each side that hold a pretty good sized water bottle, my normal size water bottle, and you're able to put I used it to I would go out in the morning wearing a jacket or a sweater or something like that. And then in the afternoon it'd be hot. So I'd take it off and stuff it in the backpack. But what's great about it is that it stuffs down to be incredibly tiny. So on the way to my trip, it stuffed down into this tiny little box, tiny. And so I was able to just kind of stick it in my, my suitcase or whatever else and carry it with me. And so then I could kind of bust it out when I needed it, which was fantastic. So I don't think I'll ever travel without something like that again. It was very, very handy to have.
So you didn't actually have it as you were traveling. You just opened it up when you got there and used it, and then
I used it as a day pack. Yeah, okay. So because I had my big travel backpack, but I don't want to carry a travel backpack all around every day. So I had my big travel backpack. I had my carry-on, and then I just had this tiny little square sort of stuffed down into my travel backpack that then became my day pack when I went out, exploring or whatever else, which was great. So
Yeah.
highly, highly recommend. It was fantastic.
Awesome.
All right. What do you got for us, Sanjay?
So, those times when you're out in public and you're sitting there and everybody's on their phone and you feel like you should be on your phone, but you have nothing to do on your phone?
Sure. Yeah.
Well, I've got a site for you. It's as if you were on your phone. So this is a app that it's a web app. So just in a browser, you can only do it on your phone. So if you click the link in the show notes, you're going to have to get it over to your phone.
Okay.
Or just click it on your phone. Basically, it tells you to do things like drag this circle to this spot and stare at this for a little while. Bop your head as if you're doing something and listening to something. Tap these balls. Basically, it just does that. So it's a game for you to be pretending like you're on your phone, like as you're on your phone, to make it seem like you've got something to do on your phone. So there you go. Yeah. So you can do nothing by doing something while you're doing nothing on your phone.
I would genuinely love to know, like, who actually uses this.
I find it. I did it, of course. It was entertaining to me that somebody would build something like this, and I think it's very funny, and I appreciate it. And I think it's more broader, some commentary, like maybe you shouldn't be on your phone. Just don't be on your phone.
It's certainly a tongue-in-cheek sort of, commentary on society for sure. But that's remarkable. I love it. I love it. I wish I had
It's as if you were on your phone.
It's as if you were on your phone. All right, Sanjay, how can our listeners find and connect with you?
They can find me at sanjaypark.com. What about you, Adam?
Find me on my website, adamjwalker.com.
Dun, dun, dun.